You read that right. A moldy cookie was actually topped with expensive caviar. And then the man began to devour it. Clearly, it wasn't enough to fill him up, so he reached into the fish tank, grabbed an ornamental fish, and, with a swift motion, turned it into minced meat. He then rolled it into small balls and neatly arranged them on a plate, eager to taste it. He couldn't wait any longer. Unfortunately, the overwhelming fishy smell made him gag, and he quickly took a big gulp of tequila juice to calm his stomach. Though that helped a little, he realized that once he finished this meal, finding his next one would become another problem. This was the first time in his long life that he had ever been in such a predicament. It turned out he was a famous thief just yesterday. He had snuck into a luxurious mansion, as he usually did. This time he only had 7 minutes for the heist, and he was determined to make every second count his first target. The priceless paintings on the wall. Each one was worth a fortune. And if he could just grab a few, he'd never have to steal again. He could live the rest of his life in wealth, never worrying about food or shelter again. Just as he was about to enter the exit code and leave, something went wrong. The password was incorrect. The alarm immediately blared throughout the house, and the doors and windows automatically locked. With no other option, he had to return to the front door and call for help from his teammates. But when he reached them, they had already fled on their own. He was alone, and he had to figure it out on his own. At first, he tried to stay calm and think of a way out, but the constant noise of the alarm made it hard to think in frustration. He kicked the alarm light, then cut the wires to the alarm system, finally bringing silence to the room. He then returned to the front door, carefully inspecting it for any weaknesses. After a moment, he realized the door was made of solid hardwood. It was incredibly sturdy, but it could be his only chance of escape. If he could just make a hole in it, he could pry it open. As planned, he started chiseling away at the door. It wasn't long before he succeeded in making a small opening, but then disaster struck. The control panel he had damaged earlier malfunctioned, and he suddenly realized something was wrong. The temperature inside. The room was rising rapidly. On the verge of dehydration, he rushed to the kitchen, desperate for water. But when he turned on the faucet, not a drop came out. In a stroke of luck, he found half a bottle of vodka in the fridge. Without hesitation, he drank it straight from the bottle. Refreshed for a moment, he returned to chiseling at the door. But as he continued, he noticed something odd. Beneath the wood was a thick steel plate, without the proper tools. There was no way he could get through it. In that instant, despair settled in, exhausted. He could only drag his tired body to the bed and collapse, hoping for some rest before he had to face whatever would come next.